Welcome to the Long Distance Playbook. Today is the 2nd of May. Oh man, we have turned the corner. We're in the month of May. Sports is hot. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to talk about. I got my man Chris, as you can see. Unfortunately, Jay's not with us right now, but he said he might be able to tune in. We'll see. And Jeff, he's got some obligations. He might not be on the show today either. However, we got the two original hosts here. We're gonna pull you through. All right,
We'll do
we're
our
gonna
best.
start. Absolutely, Chris. Do our best. So, with that, we got to start our show off like we always do, and that is with honors of the week. So we got two honors of the week. One, Kelly Norda, or sorry, excuse me, I'm messing that name up. Nelly Corda won the Chevron Championship of the LPGA last week. She took the lead, never looked back. Congratulations to her. Our second honors of the week, 22-year-old Bo Greaves. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Makes history as the first woman to win professional darts champion ranking title. Congratulations to Miss Bo Greaves. Like I said, I hope I'm saying that right. We'll see. Now, outside of honors of the week, oh, my bad. Hit the wrong button. We're going to move on. We're going to change it up a little bit, right? Because this week we don't have no red card report, at least unless Jeff tunes in, right? We're going to move over to baseball. Baseball's in full swing. People are, teams are looking good, teams are looking bad, right? However, the teams that are looking good, currently in the American League, in the East, the teams that are above 500 are the Yankees and the Rays. That's it. Everybody else is below 500. In the Central, you have the Cleveland Guardians. That's it. In the West, you have Jays, A's, the Athletics. I don't know what you can call them, right? Because they're not really in Oakland and not in Vegas yet. So, but they're above 500. And then the Texas Rangers, whew, barely. They're hanging right at 500. Well, then you have the National League, the East. You have the Atlanta Braves, and that's it. Then you have the Central. Guys, this is crazy. The entire Central Division is above 500. Okay. You have the Cincinnati Reds, the Chicago Cubs, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now in the West, you have the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, currently above 500. We will give you that weekly update. Things change. So, Chris, so far in the season, though in baseball, right? What team do you think is the team to watch?
Any team in the Central right now is probably a good game to watch because they're competing. They're all young teams. Um, they're gritty and they're proving that you can still win. So, if you really, if you like, hey, just watch an NL team right now. They're grinding out games.
So mainly the NL Central, though, right?
Well, you can you like, of course, your Giants, I mean, your Dodgers. If you want
Right.
some exciting games like that, yeah, your perennial powers, yeah, you can watch those teams.
Okay.
But If you want to see some upstart, go to the NL Central right now.
I, look, I agree with you 100%. Like, I think that entire division being above 500 is going to be exciting for baseball. Not just for fans of baseball, but for those teams as well, right? Because think about it. If you finish last and you above 500, I'd be so mad
Yeah, right.
because above 500, that's a good season, you know. I would say keep a lookout as well, right? Because it's early in the season, and typically there's always a team that struggles at the beginning, and all of a sudden gets hot and just takes off, and they get into playoff contention. So I don't know what team that's going to be. It's random year to year. Um, so we'll see. I'm surprised that the A's are actually at the top of their division. To me, that'd be the team to watch, right? How long can the A's stay relevant and stay at the top of their division? So,
Well,
look
you
like
know,
you
you
had
got
something, Chris.
yeah. Right now teams are still trying to figure out what they're gonna do. It's not June yet. They're just getting to they ain't even gotten into the dog days of summer. So
Right.
you got teams, like Seattle's injured. They got a lot of injuries right now. Um, and once they become healthy, if they still in the race or close, they can still come back and win it. They have everything in place. So I wouldn't count any team out in any division right now. We ain't got to the middle of the summer yet, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
And it's gonna be fun to watch. You know. So if you're a baseball fan, cool, enjoy it. If you're not a baseball fan, well, maybe this might be the season to tune in and watch a little
start
bit of
watching.
baseball. So,
Speaking of baseball,
where you at, Chris? What you doing?
I am currently at a softball tournament.
Oh, okay.
I got good. How you see it? I got good seats right now. I can see the game from the car and still do the sports talk.
I like it. I like it. So, and you're due to play again later today, correct?
Yep.
Okay. How'd y'all do? Did y'all play earlier?
Yeah, we lost 2 games already, but it's not over yet. Fat lady ain't
Okay.
singing.
I like it. That is a famous saying. So, with baseball, are there any players that we should be watching, Chris? Any that you?
I'm kind of biased right now. The
Oh,
Cardinals are doing very well with their very young team. But one of the players that I would watch is J.J. Weatherholt. He's a second baseman. He's actually on a hot streak right now. And this kid Jordan from the Cardinals, who's playing right field, he at a certain point he was leading the National League in home runs.
oh, wow. Okay, I did not know that.
There's a lot of good upstart players right now, like Paul Skeens from Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, he's doing his thing. He still ain't beat the Cardinals, but he's still doing his thing when he's on the mound.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I think the player to me that you've got to watch, as long as he can stay hot, he'll definitely help his team. Is Houston's Jordan Alvarez. Uh, but I mean, he's leading the league right now in hits. He's third and or tied for second in home runs. He's fourth in RBIs. So he's putting stuff together. Of course, people got to get on base for him to put up those stats, right? He's also third in batting average. So I mean, he's having a good season. So just keep a lookout. Let's see if he can stay hot. Typically,
Yeah,
players start hot and then they cool off come June or July.
yeah.
So we will see. All right, next sport up, little NASCAR, right? So the current top five in points this week is Tyler Reddick, number one, Denny Hamlin in second place, and third is Ryan Blaney, and fourth is this week it's Chase Elliott. He dropped down to sixth a couple of weeks ago. Now he's back up. He's in fourth this week. And then Ty Gibbs, he was fourth last week. Now this week he's in fifth. So, they got to um, pay attention to it and everything, right? They're racing at Fort Worth, Texas this weekend. So that should be an exciting race if you want to tune in and see who either takes the lead or, uh, maintains their status and points. Oh, man. All right. That didn't take very long. But, Chris, we're going to move right along to some hockey, right?
Hmm.
So, if you look, there's only one piece of that bracket for the second round that hasn't been solidified yet, and that's the Lightning and the Canadians. You know what, Chris? That's why Jeff didn't want to come on the show
Why is that?
because he's the Lightning fan.
Oh yeah, that is true. This is true.
Yeah, right. So he's worried. He's scared. Hey, I understand. Pushing it to Game 7, the only hockey series in round one to go Game 7. If you take a look, the Avalanche have taken care of their business. The Wild, to me, kind of snuck in. They handled the Stars better than what I thought they would. Golden Knights handled Mammoth, and I thought Utah was going to do pretty good, but Golden Knights corrected themselves. And then you got the Ducks beating the Oilers. And then over on the East, you got the Sabres beating the Bruins. And of course, the Hurricanes beating the Senators was a no brainer. And then the Philadelphia Flyers beating the Penguins. So that was Jay's team. The Pittsburgh is Jay's team. So Philadelphia beating them. The only two sweeps was Colorado and Carolina. So congratulations to them. I think me and Chris kind of called it with Carolina going to the finals, but we'll see. Tune in. Um, I do believe Game 7 of the hockey um, is going to be on the 4th of May or the 3rd of May. It's going to be tomorrow night. So tune in. And then the first round after, or the first game of the second round is going to be Carolina and Philadelphia. So, or no, I think that's playing tonight. We'll see. A little confusing sometimes when you look at the times and the dates over in Germany. So we're gonna move right along. I mean, Chris, who do you think is going to win each series though? Real quick, between Colorado, Avalanche, and the Wild.
I think Colorado's going to win that series, but
Okay,
it's going to be entertaining.
you think the Wild? I mean, because The Kings didn't win a game against the Avalanche, so do the Wild win at least one game out of that?
I think so.
Okay, I agree. I take Colorado with you on that. And then you got the Golden Knights and the Ducks. Who are you taking on that one?
I'm kind of a duck guy.
Oh, okay. Do you think it's a close series or it's going to be a blowout?
Um, I don't. Well, I think it'll probably. I think it's going to probably go 6 games.
Okay, all right, so pretty close, right? All right, you're a Duck guy. I'm gonna have to go with the Golden Knights. I think they just are the better team in that division. So it's weird though how hockey does their playoffs because they got 2 1 seeds on the West, right? So it's weird. But if you look it up, it's very very interesting, and I think some sports should go that way maybe. Um, on the East, you got the Sabres, and they're of course waiting on the Lightning or the Canadians. Um, so we can't really predict, but I mean, I think it's going to be a tough series for the Lightning or the Canadians, whoever come out of that against the Sabres, because they're kind of getting rested up now. We got Carolina, we got the Hurricanes, and we got the Flyers. Chris, what's your thoughts on that? Did I lose you?
I'm here. Hold
Okay.
on. Okay.
So I got the Hurricanes and I got the Flyers. What's your thoughts on that?
The Flyers are going to win it. I think they would probably sweep that series.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm taking the Hurricanes out of that, and I see that one going 6 games. So just tune in. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. All right. We're going to move on to the NBA playoffs. So the West is ready for the second round. The East is not. I mean, everybody but the Knicks is ready for the second. It's the Knicks are the only team ready for the second round. Everybody else is went game 7. All right. So you got in the West for second round. But before we get to the second round, Chris, let's finish up the first round, right? So Orlando last night had a 22-point lead over Detroit at half and then went cold. We're talking about extremely cold. So, and your man Jalen, you said last week he needs to step up. Well, Detroit's gotten back into the series, and he has yet to step up. Does he step up in Game 7 to help Detroit go to the second round?
I'm sticking with the whole statement. He needs to step up. If they want to win, they got to play better. You know, they haven't been playing 100% together. So I will tell you, he needs to step up.
Okay. Who do you see winning Game 7?
I think the Detroit pulls it off and win it.
Okay. Look, I'll say this: if Jalen Duran doesn't step up and Magic don't go cold like they did last night, I see the Magic winning it. So, but I agree with you, Chris. Jalen Duran's got to show up. So, moving on to the next series, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. Amazingly, the Toronto Raptors are back in this, right? It's 3 right now. Scotty Barnes is carrying that team. Um, Brandon Ingram's currently injured. He didn't play game six. Uh, they don't know about for his status for game seven. I think, and RJ Barrett went off game six. So I think if Toronto can put the pieces together and have Brandon Ingram play, I think they can steal one from Cleveland. But Cleveland has James Harden's got to do a little bit better. I mean, he's he's not doing bad, right? He's playing good ball, but somebody over there in Cleveland's got to they've got to put up more than 20 points. They've got to put up more than probably more than 30 in order to close this Raptors team out because when you've got multiple players in Toronto scoring over 20, somebody in Cleveland's got to score. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Uh, Cleveland's just not playing Cleveland basketball. They're not putting the team together the way it should be. What I mean by that is not Jared Allen. Mobley is one game he shows up, one game he don't.
Right.
One game, you know, uh, Donovan Mitchell show up, one game he don't. So the thing is with Cleveland needs to figure out how to play together. And if they play the game they played the other night, they should win this series.
You said should. If they don't, then Toronto takes it.
No, I ain't saying that. I'm just saying they should win this series.
Okay. Hey, look, and of course it's game seven, right? There is no more tomorrow after that unless you win.
That's
So,
true.
all right, moving on to the next series. And I think this is one of the most interesting series. And here's why. Because y'all had Chris, you and Jeff both said, man, I can't wait. I hope Joel Embiid comes back, makes a debut in the playoffs, right? And he has done so. And Philadelphia is clicking on all cylinders. Joel Embiid, Paul George, Maxi. We're finally seeing these three players on the court together, playing very well together, and we're seeing what kind of damage they can do against a team like Boston. Um, I know Boston's got to have scores. At least they got to have somebody in the 20 points. I mean, Jason Tatum had 17. Jalen Brown had 18. Right? You can't put up soft numbers and expect to win, especially when those other three in Philadelphia is playing very, very good ball. Um, Chris, what's your thoughts on this series so far?
Well, you haven't had a Jalen Brown sighting in a few games, so that's part of the issue right there. Is no Jalen Brown. He's been playing, but he's not getting the points that he normally gets. So
Right.
they're playing behind each other.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your thoughts about Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey actually playing together and seeing what they're able to do on the court?
Well, they know that. So the thing is with them, they're a scary team if only if they can all balance out. You know, Joel Embiid scores 30, Maxey scores 28 or 25, Paul George get 15, 16. They're probably going to win that game. But you got to figure out which one you want. You as Boston is not as big as they are. So they have to figure out who they're going to pick on, who they're not going to pick on. So that's a big deal right there.
What's the key for each team to win the series?
Well, Boston need to hit threes. Um, the Sixers just need to really believe that they belong there. That's the easiest way to
Okay,
say that.
I got it. I got it. I think I think it's going to be very a disappointing Boston season if Philadelphia wins.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I really wouldn't say that because you had um, you they wasn't supposed to get Tatum back. He came back early.
Right.
So anything that he does now is only a benefit for the team. So if they do somehow win the game, you know, it's going to be a team effort, not just a one guy effort or two guy effort.
No, I
Okay.
understand that. Right. What I was saying though is with Boston having the lead that they had on the series, right, and letting it slowly slip away. Now they're in Game 7, and they had a pretty good season without Jason Tatum. I think Boston fans were like, "Hey, even without Tatum, it looks like if we play Boston ball, that we can make a good run into the playoffs, right? A deep run, not necessarily win championship, right? But at least a deep run into the playoffs. I think a first round exit to me would be very disappointing for Boston.
I really don't agree.
Fair enough.
And here's my reason why. Embiid is a factor. He's not just a regular player. He's a factor. And you put him into you insert him in the middle of playoff series where he's not played in. They're not ready for that change, and that's the whole thing. You can sit and say it's a disappointing season. I don't think so. I think it's more they are fine with what they're doing. It's just like I said. I don't think it's disappointing. I just know they wasn't expecting to be where they are without Tatum. Tatum comes in at the end of the season, not mid season, not with a quarter of the season left. He came in at the end of the season. So I wouldn't even. I don't know. That's why I definitely don't agree with you. I think they had a
That's,
very successful season considering the situation that they were put in.
that's fair. Fair enough. Look, that's why we talk sports, right? So opinions are meant to be opinions, right? And you have opinions and then facts, right? And Chris, you're entitled to your opinion just like I am, and we'll keep rolling, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much uh, it on the East. We're going to jump on the West, right? So we now have the second round. We have the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're going to be playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, Chris, what's the biggest factor for each team in order to win? What does Oklahoma City need to do, and what does LA need to do?
Oklahoma City just need to play their game. Period. That's it. Oklahoma City, if they play their game, there's nothing LA can do to beat them.
Okay,
They can't even beat them with Joker. I mean, not Joker. Luca.
so you're saying LA completely healthy cannot beat Oklahoma City?
Nope.
Ooh, well, what would LA need to do to beat Oklahoma City?
Uh, calling every great that you ever had in their prime come beat them. So next question.
So, well, the next question is supposed to be, who do you predict to win the series? I'm assuming you're saying Oklahoma City there.
So why even ask if you already know?
Do you think it's a sweep then?
I think it's a sweep.
Oh, mm. Uh, look, I don't think I can agree with you on the sweep. Oklahoma City winning, yes. The sweep, I think LA at least gets one.
It's a sweep.
Okay,
Ain't no gentleman in it. It's sweep.
fair enough. Fair enough. Man, this show's moving right along today. But our, our next show, our next topic is the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the San Antonio Spurs. What's the biggest factor for each team? What does
Well,
Minnesota need to do?
Minnesota need to figure out how to stop Wembanyama.
Okay.
If they slow him down, they got a chance to win. And you got to remember, Minnesota's got a lot of injured players right now.
Right.
So this is not a easy task per se.
No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be an easy task for Minnesota, and I don't think it's going to be as easy of a task for San Antonio as people think. So, I mean, because if Minnesota could somehow contain Wembanyama, right, that gives Minnesota a chance. And with Gobert playing the way he is, he's playing lights out. And if he can continue to play lights out, I think that will help Minnesota. I think he's the key factor in the series because I think he can keep Minnesota not only in the game but in the series as well. And if they can get Ant back, I think that'll help them out because on the San Antonio side, you've got Wembanyama and you got De'Aaron Fox, and I think the X factor for San Antonio, like everybody wants to say Wembanyama, but I think it's De'Aaron Fox, right? Because he has to play well and distribute properly to get Wembanyama the ball, and De'Aaron Fox has to put up points as well. He can't just let it all ride on Wembanyama.
Well, you might be right. Well, it's time for me to get ready. We got about to get ready to get started. I gotta go through my coaching thing. And it's a great joy to be with you, bro. But I gotta go.
All
Sorry.
right. No, you're good.
I
Hey,
was
if you
dropping hits.
no, I understand. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you,
Um,
brother.
and we'll see. And I'll talk to you later on.
Yes, sir.
All right, later. With that, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So, I am now alone, unfortunately. Well, somebody may tune in a minute, but we're going to move forward because the show has to keep going and sports doesn't stop. So, we had a big event with the NFL draft this past week. And I'm just going to kind of go over uh, each NFL team and the draft picks that they did take. And then at the end, I'll give you my team who I think uh, should have done better and who got it right. So, the Arizona Cardinals and the Atlanta Falcons, the first two up, you can see their draft picks right here. I think Arizona did a very good draft. They got a little more offense. Hopefully, to me, the biggest thing is the running back, Jeremiah Love. I know it's kind of redundant because he was their first pick, but Arizona does need a good running quarterback. I mean, running back. Sorry, not quarterback. Running back. Atlanta. Um, I don't think it's kind of hard to say. Avion Terrell, very good, very good pick, right? Um, and it was hard for Atlanta because they didn't have a first round pick at all. So by second round, you're already starting. You're not getting the top players. I mean, they're still top players, but it's not the players everybody's going for. But I think the Avion Terrell was definitely the home run hit on the Falcons. The Ravens had a lot of picks. The one that stands out to me is the Jacoby Lane from USC. I like that pick, and I also like the Josh Cuevas pick, right? Because that'll give Mark Andrews hopefully another tight end to balance that offense a little more. The Buffalo Bills. I like this what is it? The Skylar Bell pick. Um, I think they're hurting at wide receiver, and maybe he can give them a little help. I don't know. It's always hit and miss with the draft. Players can, and then training camp, and then injuries and so forth. So we'll see. But I like the Skylar Bell from Connecticut. Then I have the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, I like what they did. They went with the offensive line, trying to give Bryce Young a little more security, right? But let's see what the Chris Brazel does on wide receiver. Remember, Carolina drafted a receiver last year, benefited big time. So maybe if they give Bryce Young a little more receiver help, it can help plateau Carolina to that next level. They're headed in the right direction, but we'll see how far it takes them. The Bears. I like the Sam Roush draft pick. Uh, and I know people may be like, "Well, it's third round, right?" But most of your good players are actually sitting in the middle of the pack, not always at the top. But I think the Sam Roush is going to be a good one. He's a good blocking tight end, and he's a route running tight end as well. So I think that'll help that Caleb Williams um, when he's out there. And a reminder, this is all my opinions. The Cincinnati Bengals. I like what they did with the Cassius Hole and that round two pick, right? Because they didn't have a round one pick either, which is huge. So I think the Cassius Howell from Texas A&M, he can definitely help that defense out a little bit. Now I know the Cincinnati probably needs a little more offensive line, but they also need some defense, and I think that's why I think the edge rusher was definitely a benefit. I'm moving right along. We had the Cleveland Browns. Um, Believe it or not, I like I do like the Justin Jefferson pick from Alabama, and not trying to be biased, but I think he'll be a great fit for Cleveland. I think he can help that. I think he can help Miles Garrett a lot on that. And then the Spencer Fano from Utah, I think will be a good one to help block for Shadur Sanders. I'm pretty confident that Shadur is going to be the starting quarterback this year. Anything could happen in spring training, but my opinion, I think I'm pretty confident he will be the starting quarterback. All right, now we have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, I think, had an overall a good draft. Um, they went after a lot of pieces that I think that they needed. Uh, but I think the Malachi Lawrence is really going to be, uh, I wouldn't say an overreach, right? But it's a pick of somebody who I think could fit the Cowboys' defensive playing system very well, and I think that to me that was their best uh, pick. The Denver Broncos. I think the Cage Casey is the to me the best one because given Bo Nix a little more protection is going to be huge, and he's a big boy, so I think he can kind of help do get that protection um, for him and help the Denver offense move forward in the right direction. All right, and then we have next the Detroit Lions. This is a team who needed some help after there was a lot of hopes in Detroit last year, and kind of it didn't play out the way they had thought it was going to, right? So to me, the pick I like in here is the Jimmy Rolder from Michigan. I think, and it's not just because he played in the same state, right? But I think he'll be able to help Hutchinson and the other defensive players out there. Now, don't get me wrong, the Blake Miller pick is a good one to give Jared Goff some more protection. But I think the Jimmy Rolder one, I think he can be the starter day one. Green Bay up next. Didn't have a first round pick either. Uh, so I mean they of course I think they had gotten rid of their pick from to get Michael Parsons last year. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't fact me. Don't fact check me. I haven't done my research on that. Okay. However, with the people that they did pick, I think that Brennan Cece from South Carolina isn't a bad pick because they needed some help at the uh, sp- corner spot this past season. All right, and then we have the Houston Texans, known for defense, right? Um, they're rolling down the field this season, and looking at their draft picks, the one I like is going to be the Fabici in YOU. Yeah, I know I'm messing that name up. He was drafted in the fourth round. It's a guard. and I think that that's very pivotal of what Houston needed. Um, they just needed more. I think they Houston's a team that needs more offensive line and more flexibility on the offensive line. And then I'm gonna move on over to the Indianapolis Colts. Um, I would say this was the surprise team last year. A lot of people didn't think that Daniels was gonna uh, do what he did in Indianapolis after he was released from the Giants. Uh, so I think the CJ Allen pick from Georgia, I think that is a perfect pick for them, and He'll help solidify that middle piece and go from there. The Jags, had a good season last year. A lot of upside to it. However, I think they need a little more help. Um, the if I had to pick a player on out of the people that they drafted, I would have to say it was the Albert Regis. To me, that's the biggest one, and I think he can make. I think he can be day one game impacting for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Uh, with the Kansas City Chiefs, um, of course, it didn't end their season. Last season didn't end the way they wanted it to, with Patrick Mahomes getting hurt, and there is no official uh, timeline on when Patrick Mahomes may return. There are stories he may return sooner than expected, but there's no official date of his return at the moment. But with that, the players that they drafted, I to me, it's so hard, right? Because without Patrick Mahomes, now it's who's next man up at the quarterback level. Can they perform at that level? Is the offense built around, or do they blend in with that offense very well? We'll see. But as far as their picks, if I had to pick one, I guess I would have to. I like the Mason Thompson from Oklahoma. He's an edge rusher. Uh, Solid. I think he gives them depth at the edge, and I can see him easily being either a day one starter or a good solid backup. Of course, the Raiders, right? The Raiders finished dead last. Had the number one pick in the draft, and uh, as a fan, you got to understand when you have the number one pick, quarterback's not the only problem you have, and I think that's why I like what Vegas did is they obviously went out and got their quarterback because they needed one, but then they started getting some key pieces on defense, and then they started getting some key pieces on offense. The one I like, honestly, out of the entire draft, not just Fernando Mendoza, I think he's going to be a great quarterback, but is Mike Washington, the running back. I think that gives them um, more of a 1-2 punch at the running back level, and I think that'll help take some pressure off of Fernando Mendoza. Um, so we'll see how that turns out, and yeah, good luck to all of them, right? All right, next up we have the Chargers. Chargers is I think, a very, very happening team. Okay, the pick I like out of the LA Chargers is the Jake Slaughter pick from Florida. I think he'll help give that extra protection that is needed. Um, and of course, I think that was the biggest problem Chargers had was protecting their quarterback. But of course, they also had defensive. But and this is just strictly my opinion. Moving right along, the LA Rams. I debated with Chris on this for a couple of days. And I would say, Chris convinced me that the Ty Simpson pick is probably the best pick. And the reason being is because it's not because Stafford is old and washed up or anything. He is getting older. However, Ty Simpson is a future, right? He can be groomed. He can be mentored. He can learn. He can go at his development of picking up the speed of the NFL level. I think that's going to help him out big time. I think that's going to help the Rams out big time. I mean, because if anybody's got the quarterback mastermind figured out, me and Chris was talking about, and that was Green Bay. How they had Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron sat behind Brett for a couple of years, and now they got Love, and Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years. So we'll see how that turns out. Miami, whew, man, I'm about an organization that needs help in all areas. I mean, I don't think just offense. I don't think defense. I think the coaching staff. I think special teams. I think management. I think they need help in every location. But to talk about the players that they got, they're moving in the right direction. Um, I don't think they. I think they went and drafted a little too many wide receivers. But the one player that does stand out to me is Will Kamarick, and he's a solid tight end coming out of Ohio State. He can provide protection. He can catch balls very well. He's a very good route runner. So I think to me, he was a very, very good pick. The Caden Proctor, I think to me is an overreach. Look, I'm an Alabama fan. I like Caden Proctor, but I don't think one offensive tackle is going to truly make a difference. I hope Miami signs some free agents out there and really makes an impact and then helps Caden. But that's the only way it's going to help Caden. All right. Man, we have the Minnesota Vikings. So looking at their picks, I like the Jacoby Thomas out of Miami. And a lot of people don't talk about him. He's got speed. I think he can read offenses pretty well. And I think that'll help Minnesota on that'll help Minnesota's corners and everything reading the defense or offense as well. So I like that pick. The New England Patriots. I think if you were New England, I think you're gonna improve on the offense, and that's why I think the Caleb Lamu pick is not a bad one. And we'll go from there, right? Got to give them a little more protection, and we'll see how things is. I think the steal for the Patriots though is the Jam Miller draft pick because a lot of people were counting Jam. They thought he was going to go higher in the draft. He unfortunately didn't. So we'll see how it plays out. Excuse me. All right. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints. To me, I like the Christian Miller pick better, only because the Saints have to get back to that defensive grind. I like what the direction their offense was heading last year. I see what their intent is on trying to get their quarterback more receiving assistance, but I think getting a good defensive tackle as in Christian Miller will help solidify that defensive front. The Giants, man, they had a good offensive year last year. Struggled a little bit on defense, and that's why I agree with the Arville Reese pick uh, because he's going to give them the best option to portray that defense back to the. He can put pressure on the quarterbacks and everything else, right? And it definitely helped uh, the rest of the team evolve. You have the New York Giants up next, and we're talking about a team that needs a lot of help. I mean, extreme lots of help, right? Um, there's not just one thing on here, but if I had to looking at their players, right, I like the Kenyon Sadiq pick, and the reason being is because it's been a long time since the Jets have had a good, solid, standout tight end, and I think he could become that next level tight end for them, and maybe that's what was part of the Jets' problem. Now, understand, I don't think that's going to solve all their problems. So, and I would even say keep a lookout for the Cape Klubnik. He might take the starting role. Who knows? Um, the next team up is the Philadelphia Eagles, and with the Eagles, I like the Micah Lemon pick only because there's uncertainty in the wide receiver market right now of the Eagles. They don't know who they're going to keep or who they're going to get rid of. So it's always cheaper to draft than it is to pay a veteran. So I like that pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we all know that they needed more offensive help. So I like the what is it? The Jennings Dunker from Iowa. I like that pick, the guard. Hopefully he can provide more protection for the quarterback of uh, whoever the quarterback may be. It is not guaranteed Aaron Rodgers. He has not made any uh, statements that I'm aware of him coming back. But I do know Pittsburgh kind of locked it up where he can't go anywhere. If he does, then they get compensated for that. So we'll see how that evolves. Then you have the 49ers. Oh, man. 49ers, they were injury riddled last year. However, they were a very, very good team with all those injuries. I don't think the number one, I don't, they didn't have a first round pick, but I don't think the Stribling should have been their first one. I think they should have gone defense. Of course, that's why I do like the Romello hype pick because then they started going on the defensive side. I think they had too many defensive injuries last season, and that they need a little more defensive help this season. I think Brock Purdy's got that offense going in the right direction. Now the Stribling pick's not a bad pick. Don't get me wrong. I just think the Romello. I think a defensive player should have been in first in that position. But it's hit and miss, right? Seattle. We got an organization that's trying to turn the page and trying to make a brighter future for themselves, right? They had a good season last season. And they're just trying to a great season, right? So like how do you win and continue to stay on top? Well, you got to draft well. Okay, that helps. And if you don't, then you got to get rid of them, right? you're using them for bait or whatever. I think the running back, the Jadarian Price pick was a good one. It'll just give their running game that much more one-two punch. I don't think he can take the starting role. He might be able to, but then again, he very well may not, and it's okay if he just becomes a backup. So, all right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To me, I like the Hosea Trotter one for the linebacker. I think that you got if you're going to fix your defense, you got to start in the middle, and I think that's where Tampa Bay does it. Tampa Bay's offense last season did really good, even without Mike Evans, and it's going to be challenging with Mike Evans gone. He's now a 49er, so how does Tampa get over that? So we'll see. The Tennessee Titans. I think the Carnell Tate pick is the pick that they needed to make. It'll help Cam Ward with some throwing options. So you can't say that they missed on that one. The Commanders. I think out of all their draft picks, I think. Now, don't get me wrong, they're good picks, right? But I think the Matt Golban is going to be the key. I think you'll hear his name for a little bit as far as protection. You don't hear too much about the offensive line except when they give up sacks. But I think he'll be a good fit for that offensive line. With that, out of all the drafts that was all the picks and everything that were done, the team that I feel like did really, really, really well, and I think that can make a direct impact. I think is the Arizona Cardinals by getting Love as their running back, and they got Carson back. And if they're smart, they'll let Carson sit for a little bit. But I see him, uh, depending on how well um, Jacoby does, depends on uh, how fast he gets on the field. Garner Minshew, obviously, he's still recovering, so we'll see. I don't even think he's going to be available, but so I think Carson Beck's going to probably be second. He'll probably take a backup spot, and if the Cardinals are struggling, you're going to see Carson a lot faster than predicted. But I don't think the Cardinals are going to struggle what people think they are. I think with Jacoby Brissett, they're going to do really, really well. So their offense is going to be clicking pretty good, at least in my opinion. The team that flatlined it, and I really wouldn't say flatline, right? It's just so hard to say you flatlined. Um, that's something that you investigate years later down the road, right? Um, let me see. I'm gonna pull it back up real quick just to make sure. I think it may be the Packers. I don't know. I mean, they're phenomenal at drafting, though. I just don't think that they needed that much more defensive help. I think they needed a little more offensive help, but could be wrong. Um, so that's my thoughts on the NFL draft. Um, I I want to thank Chris for being on the show with me today. Um, if you're a veteran-owned business, and you would like for us to highlight your business on our show as a commercial, and you want to send us your commercial or you want to get a commercial created, then by all means, please reach out to us at longdistanceplaybook@gmail.com, and we will respond. If you just have questions or comments, please feel free to email us as well. With that, I want to say thank you for watching the Long Distance Playbook today, and you can catch us next Saturday at the same bad time and bad channel. Y'all have a wonderful Saturday and keep up with them sports.